Welcome to another episode of Cocktails with Carly and Toks Ogun. I am Cocktails with Carly.
And I'm Toks Ogun.
Hey, Toks, we got a guest tonight.
Hello,
You're just
everyone.
not going to say nothing, huh?
I'm not going to say anything. I say it every
everyone.
week. We
Right.
got a guest.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
have Raj.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Yeah, no,
Thank
it's
you
good
for
to have
showing
Raj.
up and hanging out and coming out and
Absolutely.
and having some juice with us.
Wouldn't have it any other way. Wouldn't have it any other
Right.
way.
And we got Raj for a limited time because Raj is moving back to India.
Right.
Yep, it's 4 more weeks. I leave the week of July 4th.
Are you excited?
Very excited.
Really?
I grew up there. I was there until I moved here for college, so
Okay.
all my family's still there. So I'm more than excited to go back and
Wow.
So you didn't get lured by the American dream? And
I
you wanna stay here?
know.
I mean, I did, which is why I came here in the first place. But then, for some reason, the motherland called me back.
I love it.
I'm excited to go back.
It's so crazy because, I mean, maybe it's some of the people that I come in contact with, maybe my small circle, but you never hear people say, I'm going to move back. Because everybody wants to move here for the opportunities that are here.
Yeah.
So it's quite interesting to hear that.
These days,
dynamic.
there's a little bit more of those. I want to say
Yeah.
a lot of my friends, I want to say, a good population of them do want to move back. Sometimes it doesn't happen, but you hear it. You hear it, I want to move back. Because here's the thing, as much as opportunity lies here, when you grow up with the kind of culture, the family, the values, just the lifestyle there is in India, there's always that inner need or that something calling you out saying, okay, I want that back in my life. And sometimes it's lacking here. And
Definitely is. Because it's like
I would say that.
the sense of community is different here than it is back in India or, I mean, in my case, like Nigeria, where that rich history of your family going back like so many years, and then also the fact that you just know so many people that you keep in contact with really for like your whole life.
Yeah.
That's something that you can't really replace here.
That is beautiful. So you're super duper excited.
Very excited.
So how often are you going to come back when you move?
I've got friends here. I'll probably want to come and see them. Hopefully in the future I might have, business interests or maybe come back for business school.
Right.
Something, always on the cards. I've been here for a while.
Right.
It's not going to be like y'all never going to see me again.
I don't know. You may get over there to India and just live your best life.
Maybe I will, but
You will.
I'm Mr. International.
Oh, okay, Mr. International. Well, who says they're Mr. International? Is that Pitbull? I'm Mr. International.
Right.
Before the beat drops. Okay, that is so cool. So we have some interesting things to talk about tonight with you.
Absolutely.
You have some interesting stories to share.
Uh-huh.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
What do you want to talk about
So,
first?
so first off and foremost, I just want to speak about where you're from. So you are from India.
Yep.
So just to make sure that everybody knows.
Uh-huh.
So you're from India. You were born in India.
Born in India,
Okay.
raised in India, lived there until I was 18 years old.
Wow.
All of high school, everything before
Yeah.
that.
And then you
there.
moved to Atlanta for school.
Moved to Atlanta for school.
Okay.
First time in Atlanta, first time in the U.S.
Yes.
When I flew into Hartsfield-Jackson.
Yes.
All of 18 years of age.
Oh.
Was my first time in the U.S. I-85 was the first road I ever driven on.
And you live off of it.
Yeah, exactly. So I went to Tech, so I was on the other
Okay.
side of the
Oh
highway.
my gosh.
A couple of years on the other side of the highway,
Yeah.
and since I graduated, I moved to the other side of the highway.
Yes, I love
You moved to the
it.
good side.
The good side.
Yeah.
Hey, I
Okay.
mean, that side's not bad. It's Georgia Tech, heart of Midtown.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can't
But
recommend more.
this side is the real Midtown.
Oh my
That's true.
goodness.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah,
I would say that because the other side gets a little sketch.
It's the west side of Midtown.
So let's talk about. So of course, on our show we talk about all sorts of different types of relationships and not limited to. But so how is dating in Atlanta for you? I mean, from a different cultural standpoint,
Yeah.
like how was dating, and what type of women were you interested in?
So here, it's you come from a different country, so
Yeah.
you have certain expectations, certain things that you're thinking of, and you come here and you're like, okay, now I've 18 years of my life, all I've seen is Indian women. Now suddenly you're like, okay, there's
An array.
variety
Yeah.
of ladies you're meeting, and so it firstly takes time to get adjusted to that,
Mm-hmm.
and then so at the end of the day, what it's about is whether you vibe with someone.
Right, of course.
Doesn't matter if they're black, they're white, they're Indian.
Right.
As long as, you know, you can have a connection with someone, I think that's all it got to take. So, you know, from my perspective, at least from a dating point of view, for me, it didn't matter if someone was a certain race.
Right.
As long as, you know, you and I have a good chemistry, you know, I'd like to see you more.
Right. And so in India, what state are you from?
I am from Maharashtra, so Mumbai, the biggest city in the world, or
Shout
second,
out.
number one, two, whatever.
Okay. The
That-
Texas of India.
Well, the way I like to put
Yeah.
it is Mumbai's population is more than the population of Australia.
Really?
One city
How many million is that?
that is 21-ish million people.
That's a lot of people.
One city in India
Wow.
more than the population of Australia. So Mumbai is obviously the biggest city in Maharashtra. I'm from a city called Pune, which is 2 hours from there. I actually call it the Atlanta of India because it's one of those big cities, but not, you know, your Mumbai's or New York's.
Right.
So it's got a good balance, and it's a nice
How
city.
how far out from Mumbai is that?
So that's two and a half hours from there.
Driving?
Yes, sir. So that's where I grew up. That's where I'll be moving back in a couple of weeks.
Okay, so I wanted to make sure that I asked that so that I can understand the dynamics, right?
Yeah.
So kind of back to the whole like dating in Atlanta. So and based off of where you're from, right? Your foundation, your roots. Are you allowed from a cultural standpoint, because we obviously this is Chocolate City.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
you live
yeah.
in Chocolate City.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
So how is dating outside of your race? Is that something that is?
Can you do that?
Yeah, can you do it?
What Carly's trying to ask is that, can you bring a black girl home?
Yeah.
That's what
with a
Carly's
big
trying
old
to
booty. That booty.
So it depends, right? So I've got a lot of friends that grew up here.
Yes.
Their families are from India. They're
Yes.
Indian. And their families are okay with it.
Okay,
You know, they're
gotcha.
not opposed to their kids dating.
That's
or
very
even
open-minded.
marrying people outside their race. But you know, there's also people who are a little more conservative.
Right.
My family grew up in India. I'm moving back to India. So,
Right.
you know, even though they're open-minded, just the thought of, you know, their kid getting married to someone outside the race is like, okay, how, you know, they think about the large picture. They
Right.
think about the big picture. They're not looking at 1-2 years, oh, y'all are having a great time. They're thinking about, okay, what happens when y'all are married? What happens when you have kids? What happens
Right.
when you got to decide where to live? What happens when you decide
Right.
how the kids get raised?
Right.
So because of a lot of these issues, or not even issues, because of a lot of these things,
Concerns.
that
Yeah.
they have, you know, a lot of parents are like, okay, you know, stick to your community. So
Which
that
makes sense. I can understand that. I mean,
It just makes it
you know,
easier.
it does.
Yeah.
You're absolutely
Yeah.
right, Toks. It just makes it easier. And I hope that when people hear this, they understand it from an open-minded
Yeah.
standpoint, because here in the States, we don't do that. You just bring home whoever. It don't matter. And guess what? That's who that person wants. You may not like it, but it is what it is. And then we'll figure everything out, you know,
Yeah.
fortunately.
That's probably why we have the issues that we have.
Yes, it is the exact reason why we have the issues. And I think that, and I've said this before, I think that if we adapt it to other cultural beliefs as it relates to relationships, we would probably not have such a high divorce rate.
Yeah.
And people would actually probably have more and better character.
Because if you're with somebody who is kind of coming from almost the same neighborhood, the same culture, there's probably a lot of differences that you've already ironed out by that, because you already kind of know and understand how it is within our culture. Then you can figure out the peculiarities between the two of you,
Right.
Yeah.
which is a little bit easier than figuring out, like, wait, you worship what?
You didn't tell me all this.
Absolutely. You want our kids to speak what?
Right,
Right.
exactly.
So, have you had any friends or anybody that you know of that has brought someone that out of their race, and it was probably a very challenging situation?
It was. So I
Was
know,
it a sister?
So I know someone that a lady,
Okay.
she, close to me, and
Oh,
they
okay.
they brought someone that was not Indian, not
Right.
of the same race,
Right.
back home, and they said, hey, I want to get married to this guy. And you know, he was from another culture,
Right.
and obviously in a community like my own, that is very, very different, because you know, everyone marries Indians. You know,
Right.
this person was Indian. They were from India, but they were of a different culture.
Right.
So it was a little tough in the beginning. You know, families were not on the same page. They're like,
Right.
okay, how is this gonna happen? We ain't ever. No one in the family is ever married.
It's like we
outside
don't
of
understand
our
how
race.
is this going to work.
We don't even know what this culture is.
Oh my gosh,
but
that's
then-
so like interesting.
It was. So it was a little challenging in the beginning, but again, they were nice people,
Right.
and the familiarity kicked in.
Right.
Okay, you grew up in the same neighborhood, even though you're from a different culture.
Right.
You grew up in the same neighborhood. You have the same family beliefs that we do. You're a family-oriented guy. You're looking for the same kind of things that our family is.
Right.
And so they made it work.
That's
And
how they were able to
Yeah.
kind of work cohesively
again,
together with
it's
it.
central about what is most important to you.
Right.
Right? Okay, you are from a different culture, but what do you want out of this marriage? How
Right.
do you perceive this marriage, this union?
Right.
And as long as you, your family, us, our family are on the same page, we can possibly make it work.
Right.
And that's how they did it.
So now that one wasn't
Yeah.
arranged, because that sounds like she must have found that person on
She
her
found
own.
that person on her
Yeah,
own,
yeah.
clearly, because the family wouldn't have. Hey, you know what? Shot in the dark. You come over here. Let's figure this. I doubt it.
Yeah, that was not an arranged situation.
But people
and-
still do have arranged.
Absolutely.
Do they?
Yeah. Arranged marriage is probably
Wow.
still the more popular way of getting married in India. A lot have changed in the past 10, 20 years, but it still probably is the most popular way of doing it. Maybe 20 years ago, it was like 90%.
Wow.
Right now, it might be, again, maybe,
90%?
Don't get me quoting on any facts.
Okay, because I'm like, the data there is pretty
the-
100%.
So don't get me
almost.
quoting on any facts, but it was
Okay.
a lot. I want to say that the past 10, 20 years have changed a lot. I always say this to my parents is, your generation and my generation probably has the biggest generational gap
Yeah.
in recent times, because they grew up in a different India. I grew up in a different India. I also came here, so I grew up a big part
So you've
of
got a
my
little more
life here.
texture and,
Yeah.
and different beliefs that you've
Yeah.
adapted to that
Yeah.
that actually you could probably like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what I was just telling Toks is that we got to take the best of all the different cultures and all the
Yes.
different people that we interact with. But going back to your initial question is that I think arranged marriages are still popular. They're a lot of my cousins. So I got 13 cousins, 13 first cousins on my dad's side.
Are they all in your generation?
Yes, in my generation, 13 first cousins.
You got some folks busy in your family. I don't know what
My-
kind of parties you
my-
guys have.
I got 4 uncles and an aunt, so you got 6
Okay,
siblings,
that's
and
fair.
they got around 2 each.
Right,
so,
right. Okay.
That's
So
how
it
it got to
starts to
13.
add up, right.
Yeah. So
Starts to
I want to
add
say
up.
half of them had arranged marriages, and half of them have
So-
love marriages, as they call them in India.
Oh.
Love
Oh.
marriage. That's what it's called.
Like a love child. Well, I mean, that's another show.
So,
That's a little different.
So they're doing a love marriage, and then the other one's called like an
Arranged marriage. Yeah.
Love
So
marriage
do
or
they
arranged
ever get
marriage?
together and be like, honey, you've got an arranged marriage. That's really my husband. You're just the situation.
Nah, it's either one or the other usually.
So do they, is there, and not necessarily in your family, but what you've witnessed, because this is new to me. Like, I know of arranged marriages and
Yeah.
I've heard of it because I've had Indian friends.
Yeah.
That I went to school with, and I remember we were in college, and she was saying, her parents want her to get married, and they want to arrange this marriage for her,
Yeah.
and she's like, I don't want it.
Yeah.
And so they're like presenting these guys, like some doctors, some that came from prestigious families, or because the family is essentially vetting this person out, and they want the
Absolutely.
most elite person
Yeah.
to continue their legacy.
Yep.
So she ended up getting an arranged marriage.
Mm-hmm. Is she happy now?
We lost contact, but
Okay.
I see that they do have 2 kids.
Okay, wonderful.
And so, but I don't know if that's happiness, because if something's arranged, like if my mom picked someone, my mom like picked out a pair of shoes for me, and I was like, I don't know
Are you
about
just comparing a
that.
pair of shoes to marriage?
Hey, I am comparing.
Hey, you gotta wear them every
You
day,
gotta
though,
wear them
huh?
every day. Hey, they're a part of your life.
They are.
right. So I was like, I don't particularly like those shoes, and she's like, but you like leopard, and I'm like, yeah, but not that.
Yeah.
And so how does that work? Like, do people, when you have an arranged marriage, you're kind of stuck with this person? What if you don't like the person?
So one of the first thing I'll say to that is, so arranged marriage in the way you look at it today is, it's not essentially just, okay, go marry this person. Right.
Right.
It's more of a way to get your parents introducing you to someone. If you're a guy, they're introducing you to a girl. They, usually it's like they know the family.
Okay.
They know about her background, and they're like, hey, we think this is a nice girl. Go meet her. Or they might, make their families meet directly. Your family meets our family. And then, it's not always like this, but usually what it is, okay, now you go and figure it out. Do you guys like each other? Is there a vibe? Do you think you're right for each other? We think, from what we know about her family and everything, that we think you might be right for each other.
Got you.
But if you're not, that's just, okay.
So there's no forcing the situation.
For the most part.
Oh, okay, so that makes it a little different.
At least probably earlier on.
Earlier on, also larger cities, more open-minded people.
So they're not forced to be in this.
No.
So it's arranged.
At least today, in the people that I know, of all the people that I know, I would say I don't know anyone that's been forced into an arranged
So
marriage.
it's more so, it's like a more...
It's a dating app. It's like a dating app. Your parents are your dating app.
But they
vet all the candidates.
Yeah.
And then kind of like introduce them to you.
Yeah, these are the ones that we picked out.
I kind of like that.
It's not bad.
Because if you come from a decent family where there's morals and values, and your parents that could be a good situation.
Yeah.
But that could also not be so good for people that don't have the best morals and values. They're just like, you know what? I think he has a nice smile. You should marry.
Yeah. Also, they might know all about his family, but how much do they know about the person in question?
Right.
And that's where your situation comes in. How well can you figure out what this person's all about? Meet him, get to know him or her.
Right.
And it's just, arranged marriages are just a way for a guy to meet a girl. When guy meets girl, what happens next, that's up to them.
And what they hope is that if they introduce you to enough people, one of them, you guys will kind of click.
Absolutely.
So, Toks, in your culture, do they have arranged marriage?
That probably was more common like forever ago. Now, the most you can probably get is if you can't find like a love marriage, as Rod said, your parents will try and like introduce you to some people.
Would you have an arranged marriage? Would you go for it rather?
I'm kind of understanding what Raj is saying, where it's just another way to meet people. It's not.
Okay.
You're not required to like the person just because
it's
they
not
came
like
from
the
a particular
true
angle.
Yeah.
But it's just like, okay, and it almost seems kind of cool because somebody's done the background work, so at least you know that somebody did the background research, and at least the first 2 background checks came out clear. So then it's now up to you to do the final background check.
It's tough because your parents are looking at character and family, which is great.
Right.
First.
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily how we date. We look at the
Which
physical attraction, and then we kind of vet and make sure they have good character and everything else.
Right.
So what if you get all the great stuff, but then you're not physically attracted to that person?
But it's like you're saying, right? If they introduce you and you're just like, oh, I mean, this person's kind of cute.
Yeah.
You already know that all the other stuff checks out. So then it's really just the chemistry and the attraction that's left. And so if there's any slight either flirting or whatever, you're just like, I mean, this not be so bad.
Yeah,
That's exciting.
And I mean, what you talked about, physical attraction and all that being one of the primary things we look at today.
Yeah.
Again, when in an arranged marriage sort of situation, you're there to get married.
Right.
You're there to meet this person, get married to them, raise a family with them. It's a union of 2 families. That's how you're looking at it. If you're going with it with just a position of, I don't really care about any of that. I'm just happy my parents introducing me to someone, then sure, it could not be
the
a great
American way.
situation. But usually it's, both families, both persons in question have the same thought process.
Okay, so that's fair.
Yeah.
So that's good. So it's kind of like a dating app, but not really, because sometimes you don't know what the other person's intention is. But walking into a arranged situation, or introduction rather.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, listen, we're both serious about this.
Yeah.
Or all these people that I've introduced you to are serious.
Yeah.
Opposed to on a dating
Absolutely.
app or people you meet.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm serious, so what's up? You want to come over and have movie night? It's like a no.
It's like a concierge dating service.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, and then maybe you guys should change the name from arrange to more. It's like
change the name.
Yeah, it's like a curated. No,
You better take
I'm gonna
notes
do
here.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
Raj's gonna
First
invent
thing
a
you do
new
when
name.
you get back.
Cocktails
Right.
with Carly invents a new name for arranged marriage.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
Because it's more like a curated marriage where it's just like they curate some people for you, but it's still up for you to decide whether you want to do it or not. It's not arranged
true.
It's not arranged where it's just like this is your person, you guys get married. It's not like, hey, we picked a couple nice selections, see what you like, see what your vibe is, but
I mean, hey, that probably happened 60 years ago where this is it. This is the guy, get married to him.
Right, I think that's what we think of.
The first time you see him is at the marriage thing where you're putting your garlands on each other. Oh, who is this? Oh, that's my wife? Okay.
That is exactly what the thought process is when we think of arranged marriage. It's like you show up to the altar and it's just like, hi, my name's Carly. Like, but that's not how it is.
Yeah.
You know what? I blame television because TV will totally taint everything. Okay, so yeah, I get it.
But the part I'm now interested in, sir, like let's say they curate some ladies for you. Let's just say you're an example, and then let's say you vibe with somebody.
Yeah.
Are you guys now dating? Or are you in a relationship, or what is that?
It can go either way. It can just go from, okay, we're talking to, oh, I really like you, let's get engaged. I know someone who met someone and got engaged within a week.
Somebody was ready. Damn.
So day 1, never seen this person before. Day 7, engaged.
Okay.
I know someone who met someone through an arranged sort of situation, spoke to them. He was, or they were here in the U.S. The girl was in India, spoke for months, and over a year or almost 2 years later, they're okay. A year later they got engaged. So there was a year of courtship almost between the two of them, talking, getting to know each other, figuring out if they're right for each other, and then they got engaged. A year later they got married. So like I said, it ranges from 1 week to 2-3 years.
And is it exclusive during that time period?
Oh, that's a great question.
It doesn't have to be. I mean, in a week, probably it was. How many people
he was
are you
ready.
sitting to in a week? Over 2 years, who knows? Maybe they were speaking to other people as well. It really depends on, both people being on the same page. I think that is the essence of any relationship.
Right.
Be it arranged, be it just a situationship, be it a relationship. As long as both parties are on the same page, I think it works. So I think, if both of them are like, hey, we're also kind of speaking to other people, seeing whether this is right for us or maybe something else.
If we have the intention on being together, don't be dating nobody else.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Like, let's really see how this is going to work.
Yeah.
Let's not invite any other energies in here. Let's just see how this is going to work. And if it works, it's great. If it doesn't, or we feel like it's not going to work, then we should probably just dismantle it.
Yeah.
But I think that's what happens, like, a lot in our case here in the U.S., specifically in Atlanta. People want to date, but then it's like they want to date multiple people, but then they want to have like this exclusive type of intimacy and relationship or access. And then it's like, but you're not focusing on that one person, but you're dating all these other people. So how are you able to truly know exactly if this person is right for you when you've got Tom, Dick, Harry, like Raj, Toks, Trav, you're dating all these guys and you want to be serious, or vice versa with guys, you want to be serious, but you can't be serious if you're dating so many people at the same time.
Yeah.
So you got to pick one, see how it works. And then if you don't like it, then don't, move on.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. What you think, Toks?
I think it's fair. The hard part is that there's really nothing that's forcing that convention. So people can kind of somehow have something that's sort of sometimes serious, but then kind of like just draw it out where it's common for people to be here together for years and then they don't get married.
Yeah, that's pretty
Whereas
whack.
I feel like this, if they introduce you to somebody, it's almost like within a certain time period, they're expecting
There's an
you're going to
expectancy.
make a decision
Yeah.
or not.
Absolutely.
So is there like some sort of vetting process? Like, is there like, what are the worst case scenario situations that you've experienced? Not you maybe personally, but maybe a loose woman that was loose but nobody knew, and somebody,
Or you were just young and you thought you wanted something else out of life, and you got married, and at the couple years in, you're like, this is completely not what I wanted.
Is that frowned upon?
I mean, it is. If you're, again, now this situation then is y'all weren't on the same page
Initially?
initially you were, but in the back of your mind, you were still unsure.
Right.
You weren't ready for a marriage, but you jumped into it, and it didn't work out. You know, as awful as it is for the other person, you know, you got to face it. Situations like that happen, and
what's the divorce rate in your state?
I'm gonna say a lot lower than here.
Yeah.
Yeah, divorces are, you know, it happens now and then, but it's still, you know, frowned upon because, again, a lot of marriages are based on the foundation of let's make this work.
Wow. I mean, that is just so wild how we're in this world together, and you could be just in a different, you know, country or different state, so to speak, rather, and divorce rate drops from like, what is it? I know you know the numbers, like say 50, 60%.
Like 60% down to what?
2? That's because that's
60%?
Yeah, more than half. More than half the people who get married
more
here.
than half stat a few times. Wow.
So your stuff is 50-50 chance, which, in my opinion,
you know, 6% if I were to take a guess.
gosh.
Again, don't get me on those stats.
Send me a ticket. I'm moving to your state. They're just gonna have to deal with it, and I'll conform.
No, but then there's also kind of, I guess, like cultural norms that keep people from getting divorced because it's not as simple as just like, oh, hey, I didn't like him, we didn't like each other, so we just split. It's not as simple.
Yeah,
as that.
you know, your family, your friends, your relatives are holding your marriage together. They're making sure that, oh, just because you had a bad fight one day, y'all are not getting divorced the next day.
Right.
They're there to help you, support you through your marriage, and make sure that, you know, again, hey guys, consider the implications of this.
Right.
You know, they're there to make sure that y'all are not making any rash decisions. So, again, going back to foundations of relationships.
Because then it's not just about you.
Yeah.
It's about
the
more
family
than that.
unit and just.
So then with the
union.
divorce rate being that low, are there a lot of single people with kids?
I gotta say, probably not. From what I've seen, very few, you know, single parents out there.
Is it frowned upon, or is it like, if it's a single mom?
I mean, because of it's you know, what was the cause, what was the effect, right? Is that conundrum of whether is it low because it's frowned upon, or because it's frowned upon it's low divorce rate. So you know, it's because anything that is not common, people are averse to. So if you know, you don't have that many single moms or single dads, then you're just like, okay, I don't know what that's about.
Right.
So also, you know, the basis of marriage is to make sure it's working. Is that also, again, you know, not having kids out of wedlock is the biggest thing there.
Right.
You know, if you're having kids, you're married.
Right.
If you're having kids and you're not married, what you doing? That's the biggest thing there.
Somebody's playing in the cookie jar.
Because then it's almost just like if either the guy or the woman has a kid, it probably makes it harder for you to be put in arranged situations, because that's kind of just like part of something that's came up in your background, and then it's just a question as to why, what happened, you know.
Yeah, or
are you a widow or a widower,
exactly.
or like
that's a factor as well.
Yeah, or I mean, arranged or not, right? Even in a normal situation, you're you know, it's what would you rather? You know, the kids are the person you're meeting is going to be like, okay, you know, the person I'm meeting, they have their own family, they have a kid, they probably have a co-parent with them, and that's something they're going to have to take into their relationship if they were to get together. That's a whole lot of thing they got to deal with, which they wouldn't have to otherwise.
Right.
Wow.
So it's taking all those things into consideration. You know, okay, because of what we just talked about, you know, being single parents or having kids out of wedlock, that's not common at all.
So that does hurt you. Does that hurt your prospects?
I'd say it would. I mean,
that
anywhere
sucks.
it would, I would say, but more so in India.
Okay. So can we shift gears for just a second? You're moving, or actually, I'm sorry, we talked about dating and long distance dating.
Yeah, we did.
And you've had a long distance relationship before.
Yes, I've been in a long distance relationship
And how long
for
was that?
almost 5 to 6 years.
Okay, are you
That's
still in
like
that
a marriage.
relationship?
No,
Okay.
that happened a while ago.
Okay, so how was that for you? Because that's a long time. That's like a
was.
marriage for some people.
The starter marriage.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Those little
No,
intros.
I mean, again, you know, She was in India, I was here. We were trying to make it work. The whole, childhood romance, still trying to make it work, all of that. So I think, it's something that I personally didn't mind, which is exactly why I did it for so long. It's like, I love you. I want to, do this with you, no matter how hard it is, because I think we have a future together.
What was so hard about it?
Being apart for months at a time, not seeing the person, not being able to hold them, not being able to talk to them face to face. I think, all of y'all would agree, if you've ever done it, that it's not a very easy thing to do. But again, going back to the values that I've been brought up with, it's that, okay, if you met someone and you're not in the same country or the same city as them, that's not why you break up.
Right.
Y'all still feel the same way about each other. Oh, tough luck, you're in different countries, but make it work.
Did you meet her in India?
Yeah, did you meet her there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So so you coming to the States to go to school is what brought the distance?
Yes.
Right.
Gotcha.
I figured that. And so,
same city?
Yeah.
Yeah, we grew up in the same city, went to the same high school, all of that.
Okay, so there still might be a shot for all we know,
Is
right?
she in a relationship now?
I'm not sure.
So you guys don't keep
we're not in touch. Again,
are you gonna drop down in your state and go find her? Hey, boo.
Hey.
After 2 weeks after he gets back home, he's gonna run into her at a
he's
party.
He's gonna be like, I'm back. I couldn't live without you.
No, I think there's some chapters that have open-ended. They end with a cliffhanger that can be opened into a new book.
Right.
Or there's some chapters that usually just they're closed
and that's
doors.
Fair. And there's reasons and seasons.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
So wait, are you saying it's one or the other?
I don't believe that there's the world's black and white. I do think there's more grays in there.
Yeah.
But there's definitely no intention for me to, get back in touch with this person.
But if
That's
it happened
fair.
to happen, then you know what I mean. If there's a vibe, come on, this would be an amazing love story.
Come on, there's a reason, we're not together anymore.
Right.
And
distance part of it.
Distance was a part of it, but again, like I said, it was more than just that.
Okay.
Okay.
That's fair.
Yeah, it was more than just that.
I mean, did you guys break up over FaceTime, text, what?
That don't make me think about it, but just again,
he's gonna plead the fifth, right? This is where you hold the white card.
I do, but again, the last year of our relationship was just us knowing that things were going wrong, but trying making them work.
I get it.
That was a tough year, and I think both of us just learned from that, and we were like, hey, you as long as it has lasted, it's been great, and let's keep it that way.
And let's move on, right? And we're here.
Yep, right? Absolutely. And I think that, no one should spurn distance. If just because you're in different cities doesn't mean, you shouldn't consider continuing to date, especially if, you have the right mindset. I think having been in one that didn't work, I would still say you can make it work.
Right.
If you and the other person really
are willing,
love each other and are willing to do what it takes, I think you can make it work.
I think so too. But
as long as it's not indefinite, right?
But my thing is your long distance was a very long way away.
Yeah.
So that could be very trying. I mean, you've got some people that can't even do a 4-hour, difference in relationship.
I have some friends that did long distance for around the same time as I have. I did, and are actually engaged now.
Look at them.
They will be getting married.
Look at them.
Was it the same
similar
India
kind of situation? Yep.
But they went back earlier, right?
Or the other person moved here. One or the other.
See, there's rules to long distance. One, like you have to address how that gap is going to get closed.
You do. You have to.
You have to
have those conversations.
So those conversations, and not to go back to that situation.
I did as well.
You had those conversations.
I did have those conversations.
And
there was some sort of plan of how we would make it work. How, at the end of the day, at the end of the road, there was your light at the end of the road. You were going to be in the same country together. So my friends who are engaged now, they have had those conversations, and they ended up in the same city together. So
wow, okay.
And then the other part is that the whole long distance helps if you guys were once in the same city, and then you know them, you kind of know. You've done the background, whatever, and then something causes the distance. The ones that are difficult is when you meet somebody while you're traveling, and then it's just like, oh my gosh, you're so amazing, and then you try and make that happen from that distance.
I knew someone who had never met a person, the person that they were dating. They started dating online, dated for 2 years, long distance, and now they're in the same city together, and they're still together. I mean, if the person involved wouldn't have done those 2 years of long distance, they wouldn't be together no more.
Definitely.
So, you know, it's really a factor of how committed are you to this relationship, to this person.
Yeah.
Again, yes, it helps if you know,
Definitely helps.
You met in person and not, you know, met while you were living in the same city, and not while traveling or virtually or whatever. It helps. But again, it's how committed you are to your relationship.
So have you had any crazy dating experiences in Atlanta?
There've been
with these non-Indian girls.
So, I mean, you meet all kinds of people, right? You do meet all kinds of people. There's, you know, I mean, what? Come on, try for a more you know, directed question. I can. There's a bunch that you could be asking.
Yes.
So what is it that you want to know more about?
So
You dated a black girl?
I plead the fifth on that. But again, so what about, you know, dating a black girl from an Indian's perspective? What you want to know? Because again, you know, either my own experiences or my friends' experiences.
Some experiences, like I mean, we're attractive.
Cultural differences.
You guys see us
And
up
also
out here.
cultural expectations.
Y'all be at Estrella. You know, y'all see.
There was a club down the street actually that I went to a few times.
The Compound.
Yeah, they keep changing names too, so I'm not aware. But yeah, I've been there. My friends have been there. It's, you know, that's what I said. It's if someone is attractive, if someone is fun, you know, it doesn't matter what color skin.
So what if you meet this? What if you meet this girl? She's black girl. She's cute. You like her. You're like, I think she's cool. You guys start dating. You know that like, I don't think I can marry you because I don't want to I want to keep it simple, right? For lack of a better statement, right? What if you actually fall for this person? Like, how do you like? Because it could have happened. How would you handle that?
That's, you know, that's a tough one because
you wanted it direct. I'm just trying to.
No, absolutely. No, and you know, thanks for asking me that certain question so that I can orient my thoughts towards that question, right?
Yes.
When you first asked me, I was like, okay, what do you want me to talk
about?
Well,
I just wanted to, you know, this is what I wanted to.
Differences. Was there anything that happened that made you just be like?
So again, I mean, that's something I've always thought about, right? I've been here a while.
Okay, so you've thought about that.
I've thought about. So you know, I've met people in my life who I've, you know, have liked whatever, thought about them, and it comes back to your question is where does that flip happen? Does it happen? What do you think about it? So through a little bit of my own thought process, what I realized is, you know, it's not a no. There is a possibility that if I were dating someone that were not Indian and you know, I spent some time with them, I really liked them. And we felt equally, you know, the same way about each other. There is a possibility to you know, take that next step, but it would have to be at the expense of, you know, not being able to speak the same language together. Your kids raised, you know, mixed culture, and if, you know, me or anyone meets a person like that who they're willing to, you know, leave that aspect of their relationship aside. You know, there's never say never.
So I met a man once before, and he was not of my culture, and he flat out told me, I am going to be in politics in my country. And although you are amazing and I like you, I can't marry you. But we could date. But I can't marry you.
Okay.
Because I wouldn't get that political space.
Sure.
And sure enough, this was years ago, like over 10 years ago. And so he is today a very powerful person in his country and politics.
Okay.
And
are y'all still in touch?
No, he has mutual friends. We have mutual friends that live here.
Okay.
But it's so interesting to see this, and I think he got married to someone in his culture.
Okay.
So I got it, and I was very happy that he was able to explain that to me
Exactly.
and be transparent. Of course, I was younger, and I'm just like,
yeah.
Well, then no. Why would I want to date you for fun? You know, but it happens, and I think it's just a little weird for us as like an American woman. Like we're so liberal with everything. You know, like I like you, I don't, I'll date you. Maybe it works, maybe it will. You know, more and so having someone be very transparent and say I can date you, but I can't marry you based off my culture. You just have to you can't do anything but respect it.
Absolutely,
and but it is different.
Yeah.
But you have to respect it.
Yeah, and I think that's where a lot of people like myself have to, we have to be transparent about it. Is okay if you can't lead someone on and start dating them and promise them that maybe something could happen.
I could do whatever I want to do. I'm grown.
Exactly. No, absolutely. I was just telling Toks, I was I know of a situation where there was a friend of mine. He was seeing someone that was not of his culture, and they were they're happy. They were seeing each other for a while, and then this person asks him, okay, I'd like to introduce you to my family.
Oh, okay.
And for obvious reasons, there was, the guy was like, okay, I don't really want that. And from what I heard, it was like, you're leading this person on. So we're to a point where she thinks that she's at a point where she wants to introduce the person to your family.
Right.
But at the back of his mind, he never intended for that to happen. For him, it was just, okay, I'm dating you, I'm having fun. But the girl, on the other hand, was on a different page. And that's something that, shouldn't happen. And no one should do that to someone, is lead them all under false pretenses.
Well, they do it all the time. It's just not the married situation.
Right. But then sometimes
I like you too. Okay, let's date. I'll be serious and then cheat. So it's like you have to really be with people that are, like you said earlier, on the same page.
Yeah.
And then sometimes some people also lead themselves on.
That's true. I mean? That is
very
true.
With not wanting to see what the red flags are.
Mm-hmm.
Right, because it's like somebody can tell you that, like just based on cultural differences, we can't actually be serious or be like get married. But then, and the person's just like, yeah, I hear that and understand. But then
don't
you
hear
guys,
it.
Right? Yeah, because in the course of you guys just spending more time and whatever, they just get carried away and feel like, oh man, but this is nice. How could you possibly let this go? And it's just like,
yeah, that's tough.
Yeah,
that's tough. So when do you leave exactly? Like, how much longer are you going to be in Atlanta?
I got 4 more weeks, 4 or 5.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Are you excited?
Excited. We
just ecstatic.
Yeah. It's
have you already like practically moved out?
In a way, in my mind, I'm kind of there, kind of here. I'm gonna make the most of the next few weeks. Enjoy, travel a little bit, and then just the big move back. But I do want to come to one of your questions earlier. I have a different take on it.
Which one was that?
You asked me, about black women in general.
Yes.
And so
don't remember the question, but yes.
So for me, again, it's women from different cultures have different personalities.
We got some colorful personalities.
You get a lot of color
in
the world, especially here where there's people from all around the world.
Yes.
And you got to enjoy the beauty of that culture.
Yeah.
If you're black, you're Latino, you're white, you're Indian.
Yeah.
Every race has their own colorful personalities, and I'm glad that I've been here to experience that. I'm glad that I've been able to meet so many people. Girls, friends, just everyone in general, people. I think that you learn to appreciate the beauty of your culture,
right?
And you learn to appreciate the beauty of other cultures. And I think that's something that I'll take, into my life as long as I live, is having lived this experience of meeting all these different people. And I think a lot of people are, they're very narrow-minded to what they see, what they've experienced. So I think that, everyone kind of needs to have an open mind to different religions, different cultures, different kind of people.
I like that. I like that you said that, because I think that's a really important factor for people to understand.
And people always say that like dating is hard in Atlanta. From your 7-year experience, I mean, what would you say?
I would say that it's they're not wrong.
Okay.
These people are not wrong. Dating is not very easy in Atlanta. It's just you got to surround yourself with like-minded people.
Yeah,
I agree. If you're wasting your time hanging out with women or people that do not share the same ideologies as yourself, be it about life or about dating, then you're just wasting your time. And I think a lot of people do that. They waste their own time hanging out with people that do not share the same ideologies, and then they say, okay, I don't find anyone I like because you hanging out with the wrong people.
Yeah.
So I think we have to be very direct and very calculative is the wrong word. I'm looking for a word here.
No, I feel like that's the right word.
I think calculated is perfect, actually.
Because it's like if that is what your long-term goal is,
Yeah.
then you need to surround yourself with as many of those types of people, so you have a higher probability of finding what you like, just based off of that. But
Being
if
deliberate is actually a better word.
Yeah.
You have to be deliberate in the type of people.
or better yet, you have to be intentional.
Yes.
Intentional, absolutely. You have to be intentional with the kind of people you meet, with the kind of people you date, because that's how you're gonna get to the person that you want to see.
Right.
I love it. I agree. I agree.
Yeah, I think that's probably people's biggest issue is that they spend so much time just kind of having a good time that, just like we were talking about with the whole, we can date but we can't get married. If you spend a lot of time doing that, you're just going to naturally fall in love with those people because you are spending time with those people, even though you don't have the same ideology in terms of they've already said that we can't get married. So the longer you spend in that, the longer you're just setting yourself up.
The minute somebody tells me that, if I'm sticking around and they decide to just say, you know what, I just don't want to be in a monogamous relationship. Well, that's not what I want. So I'm glad you formalized that. I'm going to leave now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But people, I think, are afraid to have those conversations. They're afraid to be transparent because people want what they want. It's easier to lead people on to get what you want and not face the music or have any accountability.
Yeah.
So I do admire that about your culture where it's kind of like upfront.
Yeah.
Like, this is what it is. Do you want this? No? Okay. Go ahead and live your best life. I'm going to be intentional with the people that I want to, that are aligned with my goals and what I want to do. So I like that.
On that point,
Sorry.
so
I'm having some allergies, y'all.
No, don't worry about it.
cocaine. This is allergies, okay?
That's what they
you
all
sure?
say,
These are
Carly. That's what they
allergies.
all say.
My allergies are wearing me out, but yeah.
But on that point, so my parents had an arranged marriage, right?
Oh, wow.
Very happily married, over 25 years, great couple. They're the rocks of my life. And my dad was a picky guy. He I don't know if he met over 70 women or he had just arranged. So he met a lot of women before he decided that my mom and himself were right for each other. Again, they were not these 70 plus women. They weren't dating. It was just that introduction kind of thing. And so a fun story about that is they served this dish for that kind of traditional meeting between families or between the guy and the girl. It's called pohe. It's called pohe, and that's what they serve when these two people meet or their families meet. So my dad has the nickname of pohe expert just because he's had them at over 70 households.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
The pohe expert.
He had to find the right woman that can get him a son with hazel eyes.
But the larger picture to this is, you can meet you can meet over 70 people until you find the right person.
Right.
And going through those 70 is not wrong. It's not like, you don't want to have to just settle as long as you're seeing, you're doing this whole process justice. you're meeting this person for whatever reason, it
You-
doesn't click.
Right.
It's not going to work. Okay, thank you for meeting with
Raj,
me.
are you picky?
Do you know how long he met those 70 women?
A couple of years, 4 years, I think.
3-4
Do
years.
the math.
Yeah.
So, okay, so he's probably meeting like maybe 20 girls a year.
Yeah.
And but they're not, just like you said, they're meeting, they might have a conversation, but they're not.
Yeah.
This isn't dating.
No, and
At least in the American context, it's not.
absolutely
dating.
not dating. And again, another thing to learn out of it is 4 years he was looking for a bride, and it's not like, okay, I'll just settle,
Right.
or I'll just get married to this girl. It was like, okay, this is what I want out of my wife, and same probably with my mom as well.
Right.
Is that this is what I want out of a husband, and sure, I'm not saying neither of them compromise on anything,
Right.
but what's right, you stick to it, you find that
Right.
person, and for whoever's out there that thinks that they're they've been dating or in the scene for a long time without finding the right person for themselves, what I'd say is take the learning out of this is don't settle just for the sake of settling.
Right.
You have to kiss a lot of frogs before you meet
You
your
find
prince.
the prince.
Right, but I think the kind of, let's say, rapid succession that your dad went through is a lot different than when you date somebody for 1 year, date somebody for 6 months, date somebody for 3 months, and it's kind of like you go through these series of semi-monogamous relationships versus nice to meet
Just
you.
meet, yeah.
We're both here because we know that we both want to get married. We're kind of having conversations based on that standpoint.
Yeah.
If that conversation is not going well, then there's no need in us continuing because we're not trying to get to know each other or have friends. We're trying to get
Yeah.
married.
Yeah.
Then do you know if your mom was she number 70?
Again, the number. I'm bad with the stats, guys. Don't know if she was number 70, but that
That'd be
was
interesting.
possibly it.
That'd be
Yeah,
interesting to
from
find
what
out if
I've
she's
known.
number
Yeah.
70. Just like, you know what? I met the one. Or if it's
Just
just
like, how many do I have to go
How
through?
more, many
Like,
no, because is it like he met your mom was just like that's it, or is just like, you know what? Actually, I need.
Nah.
She was
She-
kind of.
he's
No,
like, I got to go back
yeah,
to 42.
no,
She,
no.
I go back to 46. She was actually all y'all is just rest of y'all is
In
just
that
trash.
respect, me and my dad are similar. Closed
I
door,
knew it.
closed door.
Closed door, closed. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so she
yeah.
had to be 70.
So she had to be 70, or he's just like, okay, now I have met my
Right.
bride.
So
Yeah,
wait,
and-
Raj, you're picky like your dad then.
I am. Yeah. I mean, again, runs in the family.
You, what's the name of that food?
Bohe.
So you're gonna be the Bohe expert junior.
The second.
Possibly. But another thing, while we're talking about my dad, he didn't like me being in a relationship at a young age. He was always like, "What are you doing? You're wasting your youth. You should be focusing on your career, on college."
Yeah.
And he kind of didn't like that in the beginning. And a few months after I broke up, he actually called me up. And he asked me, he's like, "How are you doing? Are you okay?" And he showed that human side of him. He showed that father side of him, which was concerned about me. Because in the beginning, he was obviously he thought that I wasn't doing the right thing because I
Yeah.
was young. I was, he would rather me focus on some other things. But after he'd seen that we'd been together 6 years, he knew that I wasn't just doing it to have fun.
Gotcha.
And he came to terms with that. And after I broke up, he called me up and he asked me, "How are you doing? Is everything okay?" And again, on the closed door thing, he's like, "Are you sure this is what you want?" And I said, "Yes, sir. This is what I want. We're not meant to be together." And he said to me, "I'm glad to hear that you've made your decision. Stay true to it." That's what he said.
Oh,
And
I
to a
love that.
relationship or anything in life, what they've taught me is, make your decisions and stick to them. Have the strength and the courage to not go back and look at your regrets or your past as long as you're looking forward to a new future. So with me moving to India, a lot of people here are like, are you upset? How are you taking
Yeah.
it? You're completely moving to a new country. I'm sorry. I'm like, why are you sorry?
This
I'm
is your
excited.
choice.
This is my choice. I want
Right.
to move back.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
it's gonna be
you
lit
know,
too.
It is gonna be.
And
a
then we're
great
gonna
time.
find out you found your princess,
Yeah.
and then you're gonna be like, "Yeah, I'm never coming back. I'm
Yeah,
actually a
like-
founder."
Hopefully,
Yeah.
maybe.
You're gonna
maybe.
look back at this,
Yeah.
and that'll
And
be
then-
amazing for us because we're a part of that process.
Yeah,
Right.
maybe we could have part 2 when you know I've got a nice lady here with me. That,
Yeah, bring your boo.
Yeah.
Bring your boo, right? And I'm sure as soon as your dad got off the phone, him and your mom were excited, like, yes.
Nah, they're like,
we
still
support you either way,
they're
but
like,
yes.
You got a few
Yes.
more years. They're like, you got a few more years.
Yeah.
So, but then what do they expect the kids to do if they're not dating? Just what?
I mean,
Focus on your studies and
you know,
bettering yourself.
it's again. I mean, I was young then. I was just 23 when I broke up, and it's been a while since then. And now, for them, it was like, you know, you're young, you should be focusing on other
Yeah.
things.
Like what though?
Just career, college, all of that.
Toks,
Oh,
it's
yourself.
not all about that
I
booty.
think
No,
at the
but
age
you-
we are, it
Right,
is
but you
more
gotta-
important to look for someone
Right,
in your
and-
life. But back then, and
Yeah.
I agree with them. I do think they were right. I mean, again,
so
I'm
you
not
focused
gonna.
on your studies the whole time.
Well, I'm saying that you should.
Okay. All right.
He's saying he tried.
I tried, and I just think that they weren't wrong in what they were saying.
Yeah, I would
to
agree.
me.
Yeah,
And,
they're
you know,
parents, of course.
Yeah.
Because
and-
I feel like it's like a lot of times people are encouraged here to probably spend their 20s just, I don't know, just dating around and
Just
just
dating.
doing whatever.
Just spreading your love everywhere and focusing on your studies.
Yeah, people will say that okay, they shouldn't focus on a serious relationship till probably like maybe they're in their 30s, but then they're also definitely like dating a lot in their 20s, and it's not just focusing on your career and yourself. It's
Yeah, because when you're in your 20s, you think you're in love when you meet someone,
Mhm.
you know, and it's like you're not. You have
Yeah.
no idea until you get in your 30s and 40s.
I mean, it's maturity, right?
Yeah, of
It
course.
is whether you're mature enough to be able to handle all the different things in your
Yeah.
life. In your teens, your early 20s,
Right.
a lot of people aren't mature to
Yeah.
deal with all these things at once.
Right.
They become one-sided. They're like only focusing on their relationship, or they're only focusing on having a good time.
Right.
When in fact they should be focusing on building
Of
a career.
course. Yep.
I think
I would
as
agree.
long as you have a good foundation, as long as you are committed to yourself, your life, being a better person, love will always find you.
Yeah, of
Love
course.
will find you because that's what a partner wants from their partner is someone who's successful, someone who's driven, someone who's hardworking, and if you focus on those things, the right kind of people are going to gravitate towards you.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that.
then probably my next question is like, let's say or a situation, or maybe there's probably some people that like where you guys were together for a long time. Now, of course, there was the distance. Now, if she were here, or for couples who are both Indian and they're here, do they do, like, let's say the normal, like, American relationship thing where it's just like, oh, hey, we love each other. We've been together for 9 months. Let's move in.
Yeah. So,
They-
I
Yeah,
mean,
people
can
do
you do that?
well, the moving in is probably a no-no. Again, people still do it. It's not very common
Okay.
because
Gotcha.
in India, again, if you're living with someone, you got to be married to them.
Right.
A guy and a girl can't live together unless they're married.
Right.
I mean, it happens. India is also getting westernized, and I'm not saying I feel a certain way about either, whether I agree to people living together or
Right.
not. I mean, it's for those two people and their families to decide. But to your question is, I think that in India, especially, or in Indian families, it's not about the duration of your relationship. It is about the age. It is about how old you are, how mature, and age being a maturity factor.
Gotcha.
It's not just because you're 22, you're 25, you're 28. Why do people want to, why in India is it by the time you're 30, you should get married? It's because, you're mature enough to start a family, start
family,
a
and
relationship.
make
Also,
conscious
your
decisions, yeah.
biological clock is
Yeah.
ticking by the time you get to 30.
Right.
So it's like you don't want to stretch that too far. For 30, again, that's also an upper limit almost for a lot of
Right.
people.
Right.
And there's a lot of psychology, sociology, biology behind all those things that went into deciding, or there being a norm of people getting married by that age.
By that age, gotcha.
So, you know, here I see a lot of people getting married young, and it's not bad, but it's like, you know, at 21, 22, which I think it used to be fine back in the day, because, you know, by 21 you had your own job, you had moved out of homes, you were
people were more mature like a long time ago.
Exactly.
than
You
now.
were independent at that age, which is why some of them got married at that age.
Right.
Today, if you're a 21, 22-year-old, you know, you're still probably in college. You still haven't, you know, you're not even working full time, and you're getting married.
You're not even paying your own bills.
Yeah. So, you know, how are you gonna live? You know, how are you gonna support someone else when you can't? Like you said, you're not even paying your own bill. It's where you are in that maturity phase of life, where you're ready to have that. Because, I mean, if you ask me, am I the same person that I was when I was 21-year-old? Hell no.
No, who is? Well, there's some
And
people
I
that are
would
mature.
hate for that to be a factor with the person that I'm dating. Is, you know,
Right.
you get married, let's say at 22, 23, 2 years down the line, you're 25, and you're like, wow, neither of us are the same person we were before, and now we're not right for each other.
Wow.
And that would be the worst thing that could happen to anyone, is you fell in love at a young age, got together, got married, grew up, and grew apart.
Right.
And
Gotcha.
what do you do then? You stay in your marriage, you get divorced, going back to that 60% divorce
Yeah.
rate.
Right.
Nobody
then,
wants
like,
to deal with that.
How weird is it, or at what age is it starting to get really, really weird that you're not married in India?
Oh.
For guys, I'd say around 30.
So if you're a 31, 32-year-old guy not married, it's just like,
Why not? What's wrong with you?
What? At 30?
Yeah, 31, 32.
31, 32. What's wrong with you? Is everything all right?
Yeah, and for ladies, it's probably, you know, 3 years younger than that. So 27, 28.
27, 28. You're not married by then. It's just like,
Yeah.
it's like, what's going on?
Yeah, and
There's like probably an intervention or something like.
interventions. Yep. I know a few people who are, you know, 29, 30, and their family's like, come on, just please get married. Here's like 50 guys, the same as you know, they probably did for my father. Is like, here's all these guys, please just like one of them.
Oh.
But
wait.
again, I mean, hey, this is a little bit in jest, right? It's not entirely true.
Right.
Like I said, you should take the time to find the right person for yourself.
But you shouldn't be like 35.
Well, you
Again,
can't be in there
if you
there
don't-
with them.
I mean, hey, if you've given your 100% and you haven't yet met the right person,
Yeah.
and you're not very, very picky, it's just, you know, you didn't
Right.
come across anyone that you haven't met that you want to spend the rest of your life with. Sure, man, do it till you're 35. You know, it's
That is wild.
you have to spend the rest of your life with this person.
Can you wait till you're 40?
I mean, if you ask me, you can wait till whenever. You can wait till whenever.
But if you ask like a family member, they're going to be like, what's wrong with you? You're out at this point.
Right.
Yeah.
Apparently you're not serious. So,
Right. You're not
okay.
serious about life. So you're done.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. So Raj, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah,
to
no,
hang
this
out
was
with
great.
us.
No, this was a lot of fun.
I appreciate it. Gosh, I feel like I'm not going to see you until you're actually married. Because I feel like you're going to find somebody as soon as you get back.
Nah, again, I'm just turning 25. I still got a little ways to go.
You
until
better
I hit
get
that
it
30
together.
mark.
Yeah, you got 5 years.
Yeah.
Use your time wisely.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, I want to make something of myself. I want to be a smart, successful man. And
Yes.
along that journey, if I find someone that's right for me,
Yes.
I'm all for it. But, you know, again, like I said, and like my family also thinks so, this is not the time to, you know, go all out on your
Right.
search for a partner. This is the time to build a career, make something of yourself, and hopefully I find
believe
someone
that.
along the way.
That's always parents, and then 2 years from now it's just Raj.
We want
Raj,
grandkids.
right?
4 years from now.
4 years from now, Raj.
4 years from now.
What's
Oh my
going
gosh.
on? We thought you would have picked somebody.
I
I thought you said I should
know.
take my time. Yeah, but you've taken your time.
Yeah, 4 years from now, if I ain't found no one, they're gonna be, these are the girls we want to
Pick one.
And you better like one of them, okay? So where can these people find you?
I'm on Instagram, Facebook, most of the social medias by my, also name's unique, Rajat Dashrath, RAJATDASHRATH, probably the only one in the world. So you search for those socials anywhere. That'd be really interesting if someone were to see this and be like, nope, you're not the only one.
Right.
There's another one.
To my knowledge, it's the only one. But yes, you can find me on any of these. Hopefully y'all all and the audience can keep up in the future.
Yes.
No, I've enjoyed. Just the same that I said before. My full name, Rajat Dashrath. I spelled it out, so go check it out.
All right.
Awesome.
Sounds good.
So yeah, once we see those wedding photos, we're gonna we do a follow up.
No, y'all invited. Y'all get the wedding card. Y'all get the wedding card, not the photos. Y'all get the wedding card.
All right,
The wedding
thank
card,
you.
I'm definitely coming.
Because I'm coming in my full outfit.
Hey, they don't call them big fat Indian wedding for nothing.
Oh,
Gotcha.
man.
There's a reason for that.
It sounds like I'm going to get to an Indian wedding before I get to a Nigerian wedding because I want to go to one of those weddings
Come
so
on,
bad.
Toks. What are you doing?
Hey,
Toks, where can these people find you?
you can find me at Toks Ogun everywhere. That's TOKSOGUN, and that's the .com. That's everywhere.
And where can they find us, Toks?
CWCTO.com. That'll take you straight to our YouTube page where you can watch all our videos.
Yes.
Give
And
them
then
a
you
follow,
can make
y'all.
sure you can like and
Yes.
subscribe.
Yes.
And then CWCTO1 on Instagram.
Yes.
Where can they find you, Carly?
Oh, thank you so much for asking. You can find me. I'm Carly. Cocktails with Carly. You can find me on Instagram at Carly. Cocktails with Carly _ on Instagram. Shout out to
It's
Trav in the back.
It's been fun
shout out to
following you.
Trav.
You
Yes.
got a lot of great content. I'll tell you that.
Thank you. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
we work hard on it.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And so
Yeah.
thank you guys so much for watching tonight. And
Appreciate
we will
y'all.
see
Thank
y'all
you.
later. Bye.
Bye, y'all.